Like something from another world, and like they were defying explanation.
Mark recently went on expedition to some of the rarely seen inner chambers, and we took our cameras along. Let's go with him now.
It goes all the way to the bottom of the Cheops pyramid, down into the bowels of the bedrock.
It is a long, hot, and slow walk to get into the interior of this 40-story pyramid. And as this map indicates, the pyramid is honeycombed with passageways. It was obviously not the intention of the pyramid's builders to make it easy for casual visitors to get inside.
This is the so-called well, or the robber's hole. It goes up to the Grand Gallery. It's blasted through the core of the pyramid. It may be where the people escaped who closed the King's Chamber up in the pyramid. You see these footholds, they may have climbed down through them. Yeah, I went up there once, and it's pretty hairy. One slip, and you slide all the way back down, and you end up here at the bottom. What a great view of the robber's hole. We made it. This is the bottom chamber, the very core of the pyramid, the absolute bottom. The workmen never finished cutting this chamber out of the solid rock. These mounds of rock are what are left when the king came down one day and said, "Put down your tools. I want to be buried higher up in the pyramid." And since he was the living God, they had to do what he said. And so, as the story goes, they built another chamber for the king, higher up in the pyramid, the one that's mistakenly called the Queen's Chamber. It was made out of limestone with a pented roof, and this marvelous niche for the king's statue. They almost had it completed. They only had to smooth down the floors and the walls. And then they think the king came along one day and said, "Yeah, I don't like it. Let's have it higher up in the pyramid." And so once again they had to put down their tools, and they built the King's Chamber, the highest. It had a marvelous grand gallery leading up to it. It was encased with red granite, brought all the way from Aswan, 500 miles downstream. Finally, the king was satisfied, and that is where they think Cheops was laid to rest, inside his pyramid.
Above the king's vault, we see chambers above chambers above chambers. It's thought that they relieve the tremendous weight upon the king's burial.
I'm in this crawl space that was carved from the top of the Grand Gallery to the first of the 5 chambers above the King's Chamber, apparently done by the workmen after the top of the King's Chamber and the top of the pyramid had been closed off. It's thought they had to get to that first chamber above the King's Chamber and the floor on top of it because earthquakes or something had caused the ceiling blocks to crack, and they may have wanted to get in here to inspect and possibly to repair with plaster.
Through this cramped entrance, we emerge into one of the chambers and discover walls inscribed with ancient and modern graffiti.
This is one of the names of the work gangs. It reads, "How powerful is the great white crown of Cheops gang?" They put their names on the blocks because they were responsible for moving it. And there was competition between them to get them into place.
We are almost at the top now. A good place to stop and rest, for we are right on the edge of making a most fascinating discovery.
This is one of the original leveling lines of the chamber. And you can see that the leveling line has been put on after the blocks are put into place. Before they were put into place, the workmen put this cartouche of the king, which is underneath the line. And that's part of the name of one of the work gangs. These channels in the top of the granite blocks indicate how they were working the block down from the top. You channel, leave a hump, take away the hump, and gradually work the surface away. Well, as massive as these structures are, people are worried that they might collapse. Last year, engineers were in here, and they put up these seals to see if the chamber is slipping at all. If the seal is cracked, of course it means there's slippage in the ceiling blocks. All these ceilings, all these rooms show cracks running through the 80-ton granite blocks. There's been slippage at some time. Is it still happening?
Okay, I got the bottom. Now the right foot is going to have to come down a lot. Put the light up so you... Okay. See what I mean?
Up here at the far end of the uppermost of the 5 chambers, you have what really clinches the Great Pyramid for Cheops. It's his name written in red ink on one of the stones, left by the workman who dragged it into place, and it clearly spells out Kha-U-F-U, Khufu, the ancient Egyptian name of Cheops. This has never been seen on film before.
So, proof that Cheops did build the pyramid. So much for ancient astronauts. But the mystery of how he built it still eludes us. Perhaps the papyrus blueprints crumbled into dust in the lap of the Sphinx. Or maybe they're still there, we don't know. And the Sphinx stands in ancient majesty, almost daring us to discover the reason behind its seductive half-smile.
Twilight journey to the city of the dead, where we come face to face with an ancient mummy preserved through the ages. Who was he? We'll find out when Mysteries of the Pyramids Live continues.
Sponsored in part by American Express Traveler's Checks. Don't leave home without them. Sponsored in part by AT&T. AT&T is the right choice.
Every day, over 30 million AT&T calls go through on the first try. Thanks to a remarkably intelligent network that forecasts traffic, anticipates tie-ups, and determines the quickest way around them. All in less time than it takes to dial. The AT&T network, you can call it the mastermind of long distance.
Glad I got through.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
This man takes vacations for a living. So he knows the best time to hit the beach. He knows which restaurants have the most to offer. And when the sun goes down, he knows just where to find just what he wants. It could happen to you right here in the U.S. So don't carry cash. Carry American Express Traveler's Checks. Don't leave home without them.
This is the all-new Pontiac Grand Prix. Motor Trend called its advanced design squarely in step with the 90s. They said its spectacular interior produced a driving environment second to none. They said where the new Grand Prix really stands out is its handling. They liked it so much, they named it the 1988 Motor Trend Car of the Year, the hot new Pontiac Grand Prix. Rebuild excitement!
Next time on an all-new episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Set course to intersect with the freighter.
A split-second rescue pulls survivors from a fiery disaster.
Do you think our visitors pose a threat?
I don't know.
Only to find bitter enemies battling over life-saving drugs. Now, their desperate feud becomes a deadly face-off.
He will take us to our planet and leave us there with our medicine, or this person dies.
On Star Trek The Next Generation.
Sunday at 8 on Channel 11.
Who's got the juice? Got it. Got it. Don't got it. Got it. Got it. Don't got it. Yeah. Got it.
Ain't got it.
Who's got the juice? Right. You got the juice. Taste it. Yeah. You got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Don't got it. Taste the real juice. Either you got it or you don't slice. Either you got it or you don't slice.
Getting foreign car repairs can be a problem. But you know what? When it comes to foreign car brakes and mufflers, nobody beats Midas. One foreign car dealer wanted him to make an appointment to fix his brakes. He didn't need one here. Another one wanted to keep his car all day. He'll be done here in no time. And neither of them could come close to our price. Midas guarantees brake shoes and pads for as long as he owns his car. Own a foreign car? Remember, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
The mysteries of the pyramids continue live from Highclere Castle.
Life in ancient Egypt was but a prelude to afterlife. And because that afterlife was eternal, nothing was left to chance. Before a body could journey to the land of Osiris, the keeper of the underworld, it had first to be prepared. When an Egyptian died, his body was readied for this journey, a process that took 70 days. First, the body was soaked in a salt solution that absorbed all moisture. And then the vital organs were removed and placed in canopic jars. The brain was liquefied and removed through the nostrils. But the heart was kept intact. For they believed that it was the center of knowledge. And when the priest was finished, they had transformed a human being into something they thought was eternal, something called a mummy. One night, I came face to face with the debris of death. My guide and I went into a bone house, a storage shed for the ages. Inside that bone house, I looked into the empty eyes of an ancient Egyptian. When I asked my guide how old this skull was, he answered, 5,000 years. Imagine, 5,000 years. We went into another room, and in the corner, almost hidden in a bed of straw, were the remains of a mummy, lost in the shadows after most of the ancient bones had been moved elsewhere. It's incredible. It's incredible to be holding a bone that's 5,000 years old. This was part of a human being. It looks so... It could be somebody's bone of yesterday. I can't believe it. My hand is shaking. I mean, it's so exciting. How fragile we are, really, because, I mean, these are bones, we have bones like these, exactly like this. And this looks extremely fragile, but there it is, 5,000 years old. It's not reduced into dust or anything like that. I would have thought they would be reduced to dust. There it is, probably exactly like the one I have in my own body. We have no need to fear. Their ghosts do not haunt these bones. These are the people found in the labyrinths around the Great Pyramid. There was no earlier civilization. The skulls have no antenna. These were not extraterrestrials descending on Earth from a strange planet in space. These are the skulls of Egyptians who lived 5,000 years ago. Courtiers, mistresses, architects, officials, making up the royal court of Cheops. This is the chapel of the lovely Merisunk, Cheops' granddaughter. She became queen in her own right when she married her half-brother Kepler. Yes. And we even know the preferred woman's figure 5,000 years ago. Tall, slender. this be the beautiful Melisande? Perhaps it was one of Cheops' scribes. Maybe one of those called Master of Secrets. Below the Giza Plateau, a maze can be found. A maze in the form of tunnels that twist and turn and seemingly never end. And Mark Lehner is one of the few people who know where those paths turn. For one is never sure what is just around the corner. A wall, a passage, or an empty sarcophagus.
There's a lot of charcoal in there, a lot of charred bone. It looks like there's clearly been a fire in the sarcophagus. Sometimes the mortal remains of the deceased were burned so that they couldn't attack the plunderers as they robbed the tomb.
When you are alone in this eternal night, you feel the weight of the centuries pressing down upon your shoulders. It takes a brave or perhaps foolhardy person to penetrate deeper. Through this narrow passageway, we enter the secret chamber where the life of Egypt is on display. On the walls of Melisande's tomb, murals were painted depicting everyday life, so that these activities could nourish the souls in their afterlife. This is a city of the dead, a necropolis inhabited by ghosts. One can almost sense them, feel them, as they whisper and taunt us with the secrets they possess. Mummies have come to symbolize the mysterious, the ageless, the fantastic. Material body, or khat, a word that means something that decays. When they placed themselves within this bedrock, it was as if they planted a seed that would germinate and then flower, as the mummy's soul came forth from the underworld.
Virtual labyrinth down here. This goes to yet another tomb chamber, and in that chamber there's another shaft going down several meters. There's another chamber at the bottom of that that seems to go on forever.
In this case lies one of the most perfectly preserved mummies in all Egypt. We even know his name, Nefer. This mummy was literally pickled and then reconstructed in the image of the living human being, almost a statue molded out of bandages. As we look into Nefer's eyes, staring into the darkness, it seems for this Egyptian at least, that decay has won the battle against immortality.
They honeycombed the whole plateau, putting themselves away for eternity.
Perhaps in a portion of the heavens reserved for the ancient Egyptians, the former inhabitants of these empty husks are in the embrace of Osiris, living their promised afterlife. If they are, they may well be displeased at the way their earthly remains have been treated, for their disturbance is almost like a wound in time. This might explain what happened one night in 1938, almost 150 years ago to the day. A stone sarcophagus was taken from the pyramid of Mykerinos, that's the smallest one, and loaded upon a ship called the Beatrice. That ship set sail for Great Britain and promptly vanished off the coast of Portugal. Perhaps somewhere in the heavens, an ancient face displayed an icy smile.
When we return, the mystery of the missing treasure of Lord Carnarvon is solved as Highclere's butler uncovers artifacts hidden for generations when Mysteries of the Pyramids Live continues.
Death shall come on swift wings to him that touches the tomb of the Pharaoh. Those prophetic words were rumored to have been inscribed on the tomb of Tutankhamun. Unfortunately, no evidence has been found to back up that rumor. But death did visit many of the people associated with the King Tut expedition, including the former owner of this house, Lord Carnarvon. Lord Carnarvon, how did, in fact, your grandfather die?
He was shaving. He had a spot on his face. He cut it. It became infected. He got septicemia and died.
Died from shaving?
Died from shaving, and we got his razor here.
I may have a look at it?
Of course. Robert, could you bring the razor over, please?
This is the actual one.
This is his actual razor. Here it is. Nasty-looking thing.
Yes, it is.
There's the wyvern, the Herbert crest on it, and there's the razor.
It is said that at the same time that he died, at the moment that he died, strange things happened.
All the lights went out in Cairo, and at the same time as the lights going out in Cairo, his Jack Russell Terrier in the housekeeper's room in this house dropped down dead.
How extraordinary. And therefore, do you believe in the curse of Tutankhamun?
I do and I don't. Howard Carter lived till he was, well, till 1939, and my Aunt Eve, who was the third person into the tomb, died only a few years ago.
Recently, the Carnarvon family returned to the headlines, but this time it had nothing to do with the curse. Lord Carnarvon, I understand that some of your grandfather's discoveries were recently rediscovered.
It was very exciting. We were last summer, in the room next door, and we'd just completed an inventory of the furniture and the pictures and the carpets and everything. And I said to Robert Taylor, "Is that the lot, Robert?" And he said, "Yes, except for the Egyptian stuff." And I said, "The Egyptian stuff? Well, what do you mean? I didn't know we had any Egyptian stuff." He said, "Yes. I'll show you where it is."
Where was it?
I'll show you now.
Okay. Go ahead.
We went across here, and Robert said to me, "I'll move this table." I'd never walked through those doors in my life, because there's always been furniture in front of it and furniture the other side.
And Mr. Taylor, how did you know there was something in there?
Well, on the rare occasions that the house was opened for charity, we had to have both doors open to allow the passage of the people through. And I saw this door, which happened to come slightly open. And so I've been rather curious.
Me too. I'm dying to see what's in there.
And I opened this box, and
just looks like a cigarette box.
Yes, it's a cigarette box with Cairo written on it, and here inside is a lovely flail necklace about 3,000 years old.
How did you feel when you opened this cigarette box or whatever and found these treasures?
Well, I was hysterical with excitement, as you can imagine, and very excited.
Did you recognize that they were very valuable things?
I thought they were Egyptian, and I immediately rang up the British Museum and spoke to Mr. Harry James, the keeper of Egyptology, and I said, "I believe I found something very exciting," and I told him about it, and he was thrilled.
Can we see some more of these objects?
We've got them next door. I'll show you.
Thank you. When we return, we'll take a closer look at these hidden treasures, unseen for generations, as Mysteries of the Pyramids Live continues. One of the many artifacts newly uncovered from these castle walls. From what I've been told, many of these objects are from the tomb of Amenhotep III, a chamber that was said to dwarf in treasure the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Amenophis was Tutankhamun's grandfather. When he assumed power sometime around 1350 BC, Egypt was the center of civilization, and the riches of the world poured into his royal coffers. When he died, he was buried with great pomp and circumstance. His reign marked the high water mark of the Egyptian Empire, and his tomb must have reflected that glory. Who was this Amenophis? What did he look like? During his reign, he built many statues commemorating and enshrining his power. Like all of the pharaohs, he thought he was building for eternity. But today, these huge statues are faceless. And until the treasures of Highclere, they were all we had to remember this great pharaoh by. Now, first of all, were any of these objects found in King Tut's tomb?
No, nothing from Tutankhamun's tomb at all.
So, can you tell me a little about them?
I think the right person for you to ask is standing over there, Mr. Harry James. Would you come over, Mr. James, please?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. James. Tell me a little about this. I mean, this has got a beautiful color. Where does it come from?
Well, it comes from a tomb, and it's a figure that's partly a lady.
A lady?
A lady, as you can see, it has breasts.
I like that.
Don't laugh, because consider this, as we're talking of ladies, you could grind your eye paint powder on here, or other pigments, if you wish.
Oh,
exactly.
Yes.
And that is very useful. And if we're talking about cosmetics, come and look at what we have over here. Now, if you were a lady,
yes.
then you might like to wear that.
Yes,
indeed. This is cornelian and shell. Very beautiful still.
Beautiful. They would be very fashionable today, wouldn't they?
Very fashionable, yes.
Look at the colors on these things. I mean, I can't believe they were not painted today.
So you might think, but I can assure you they're about 3,000 years old.
What is this extraordinary object here?
This is a helmet from a statue of Amenophis III made of many different materials, and a particular helmet worn by him as a warrior.
How wonderful. I noticed something here, like a big bird. Very beautiful indeed, with beautiful wings. What is it?
Not a bird.
Not a bird.
If I had wings, I could fly too. But this, in fact, is the goddess Isis.
Wife of Osiris.
Wife of Osiris, and she, in fact, was the goddess that protected, to some extent, a dead person. And this was placed on the chest of a mummy and protected the mummy. Most extraordinary thing.
That vase is incredible, isn't it?
It's in a sense second-hand, you know.
What do you mean?
Well, second-hand because it was found in a cache of these jars in front of the tomb of King Meneptah, the son of Ramesses II the Great. But in fact, it is inscribed with the name of Ramesses.
So he inherited it, as it were,
He inherited it, and it was used to contain the junk left over when he was mummified, the bits and pieces.
Alabaster, is it made of?
Alabaster, yes, indeed.
What is... That intrigues me. This little chap here, who's got a finger in his mouth. What's he doing? Biting his nails?
Not really. No. You mustn't judge everyone by yourself.
Yes, I know. You noticed?
Yes. No, this is the god Horus as a child. Harpocrates. And as he is a child, he is shown with this characteristic finger to mouth, and he has a great heavy lock of hair here.
Where do they come from?
These come from a place called Tel Balamun in the Delta. Not a very well-known site, but it was briefly investigated by Carter and Carnarvon before the First World War.
Well, all these things are extremely beautiful, but they're so small. Shall we have a closer look at them?
A head of Amenophis III, made of wood, from the tomb. And here is another, of the same kind. Two heads of ladies, and they differ in age by 1,500 years.
Beautiful.
A knob from a box of Amenophis III with his name in blue faience. An armlet with snake decoration made of silver from Tel Balamun. Cosmetic objects from a Middle Kingdom tomb 3,000 years old. And an archer's a leather archer's guards to protect his arm with figures of captives embossed on it. Model tools and weapons from a foundation deposit made of bronze and of wood. Remarkable little objects, and still almost functional. And here, some more of these lovely blue faience objects. Two of them you see rather closer here, one an Ushabti figure on the left. Here, the head, the forepart of a little squatting hippopotamus, the forepart of a lion figure in the same material. The head of the goddess Hathor, sometimes called the goddess of love. And here, the Apis bull, the embodiment of royal power, and a double-headed falcon sphinx with the name of the king Shabaka.
A controversy exists today, saying that these artifacts and many other treasures scattered around the world's museums should be brought back to Egypt. Well, we asked Madame Noblecourt, the French archaeologist we met at the Valley of the Queens, her opinion on this subject. Should these objects be returned?
Why? Why? You know, I'm very fond of Egyptian people, and I work for them. It is me who had launched the safeguard of the monuments of Nubia, Abu Simbel, Philae. It is me who has prepared everything. And I'm Egyptologist since 50 years. But I wonder why object which has been bought, which left Egypt officially for a private collection a long time ago. We are in 1988, and the collection was made between 1902 and 1920. It was officially out of Egypt. Why do you want the object came back? There is no reason.
As you can imagine, there is another point of view, and we asked Dr. Zahi Hawass for the Egyptian side of this controversy.
Egypt itself. Lord Carnarvon, Howard Carter, we know through what has been written in many books right now that some of the monuments left Egypt illegal by those people. To have these monuments in Lord Carnarvon's private home, it will show that it is illegal. They do not have any legal evidence that they bought these monuments, or it went through a division between the Egyptian government and the Carter expedition. Then I think we have the right to return these objects back to Egypt because it's part of our heritage, and it went through some of it from King Tut's tombs and some of it from other sites.
Whatever the controversy, Highclere Castle will be open to the public in July, and these new treasures will be on display for all to enjoy. I'd like to thank you for allowing us to see all these wonderful objects. And Mr. James, thank you for explaining where they come from and what they are.
Pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Though we know that in life and in death, the pharaohs were magnificent, it is a pity we only have such few personal mementos to remember their passing. What will we leave behind for our distant ancestors to remember us by? Look around your home. Think. What would survive among your possessions? What would they say about you?
When we come back, Omar Sharif enters the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid, a chamber that has driven men mad and worse, as Mysteries of the Pyramids Live continues.
The inner sanctum of Cheops, the heart of the world. This is the chamber where Napoleon confronted his dark future. And this is the chamber I entered on one cloudless night. And I feel that I too have glimpsed into eternity. Absolute power during his life as a man. He achieved immortality as a god after his death. Now, this grand gallery is aimed right at the heart of the pyramid. It leads to the focus of the whole of Giza necropolis, the inner sanctum of the king's tomb. It appears that the king changed his mind several times during the construction. Being the supreme power and the living God, he moved higher and higher. But it all started in the bottom of this stone mausoleum. The inner sanctum of the royal grave. It's incredible. I'm here for the first time with you. Now, while his soul was glorified far beyond the horizons of mere mortals, Cheops's body was left behind in this granite sarcophagus. Now, it is cold and empty. But when it held the royal remains, the sarcophagus was called by the Egyptians the Lord of Life. It was for them like a nuclear power core that energized the pyramid, the temple, and indeed the whole of Egypt. Dr. Hawass, please tell me, who was this man who was worshipped like a god? What do we know about him? What did he look like?
This is the only small statuette that ever found for this great king. And even is not found at Giza. It's found in a site in Upper Egypt called Epirus.
Again, we are left with mystery. The clues point to Cheops as the builder of the pyramid, but the feeling for his presence is fainter than any ghost could ever be. What we do know is that this inner sanctum and its empty sarcophagus speak to us of resurrection. And we are left with mystery. The clues point to Cheops as the builder of the pyramid, but the feeling for his presence is fainter than any ghost could ever be. What we do know is that this inner sanctum and its empty sarcophagus speak to us of resurrection, the renewal and uplifting of the human soul. Who do you think you were?
I believe I was Cheops.
Of all the people throughout recorded history, many are called, but few are chosen. By their example, they inspire and determine the fate of our planet. All are gathered in their own kind of Olympus, a round table of greatness. Among these noble men, there is one that stands out, the Pharaoh Cheops. And yet, we don't even know when he lived. It's all lost in the night of time. There is but one thing that we do know about him, and we will always know it for a long time to come. He is responsible for the seventh wonder of the world, the Pyramid of Giza. Perhaps this ancient nation's greatest legacy to all of us is not the search for treasure, nor the gold of the child Pharaoh Tutankhamun, nor the extraordinary architectural achievement of the legendary Cheops, but the fact that the spirit never dies. This is not just a monument to one great king. The people who built these pyramids gave their lives in order to prolong the life of the soul of a man. We will return in a moment and take one last look at these wondrous artifacts and gaze into the eyes of the mystery that was Egypt. It of knowledge that burned hotter than the sun? Or would his tale be a humble one of the calluses on his hands, the bruises on his body, the cloak of weariness that would descend upon his shoulders each evening as he returned home beneath the shadow of the unfinished pyramid? What would he say to us? To all of you watching, thank you for accompanying me on my journey. It has been more than a journey across space. We have gone beyond time itself. The pyramids are only the most visible mystery of ancient Egypt. For we not only don't know all the answers about these magnificent people, but we probably don't even know what questions we should ask. So perhaps all of you might reflect upon this affirmation of mankind's ability to at least fight eternity to the draw. For the pyramids are the closest thing to eternal that we are ever likely to create.